What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 387 of Opinions May Vary. Had to slow it down there. Started out real fast. Mm-hmm. We're slowing it down.
We got time.
Take it easy. I'm your host, Jared. My co-host with me, Alex.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
I missed you. It's been so long.
I've
seen you more times in the past 3 days than I have like in the past month.
Possibly, yeah.
But that's all good. Joining us this week, we have two lovely guests. We have returning. Is this 3 or 4? 4?
4.
Four-time veteran. We have Megan.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great.
We last talked after Kineticon last year. How's it been?
It's been interesting.
That's an adjective.
It is.
It could be good and it could be bad.
Now I have to check to see what her episodes were because that's just,
neurotic. Yeah, I feel you. But also joining us is a new guest. I don't know the proper word. Anyways, we're joined by Allie. Hello.
Hello.
Allie, so from what I understand, you do the science, and Megan also does the science, in more of an amateur. So we're here to talk a lot of science today. That's my official synopsis, and I don't know where to go from here. Alex, this is kind of your brainchild, and I'm really excited about this because we've never done something like this before.
Mm-hmm. Meg's first episode was 2015.
Ew.
And that was...
Yeah.
Oh.
You were like 11.
That was June. That was episode number 170. We had you back for 288.
We've done 200 since then.
So, in number 288, that was 2017. And then just last year for 332. You went halvesies with the Vicky's episode.
You can literally hear...
Her getting older.
Yeah. Yep.
Growing up.
It's pretty insane.
So Megan entered high school. She had been doing her robotics club throughout
Junior
her
high.
junior high school,
stuff.
her previous school. And she was on the robotics team. And then she wanted to get into the high school robotics team.
And now I'm on 2.
2 of them.
Yep.
Same school?
Yep.
Your school has multiple robotics teams?
Yep.
Damn.
They're different sizes. That's my layman's terms, but we can get into the more proper terminology a bit later. And graciously and thankfully, Allie's joining us. Allie's a friend from work. And I had known she's done a bunch of robotic stuff. She posts about it, puts up pictures, and she's been doing it for a long time. And now she's going to college. We're planning on graduating next year. And I was like, JR, would it be too nepotism-y to have my niece the opportunity to interview someone who's hopefully doing what she wants to do in the future? And we'll talk about it.
I think my initial reaction was maybe, but I don't care because it's our show. We can do whatever we want.
So let's talk about women in the technology world, doing cool technology stuff with robots and engineering, and see where we go.
All right.
Doing the thing that everyone secretly wishes they could, because there's that lame stigma, right? With growing up, I get it. I was in show choir growing up. I did 7 years of show choir. I was not doing the sports. I did have a varsity letter because of show choir, and it made a lot of people upset. So but we didn't get jackets, so it went on my backpack. That thing was on my backpack for my junior and senior year of high school, because I had a varsity letter for show choir. Technically, we were actually above varsity. We were in the champions division. Mm-hmm. We got last place in the champions division, but whatever. Doesn't even matter. Champions. But I remember we would have, my school tried to have pep rallies, but they suck at it. So we had to do pep assemblies, yeah.
No.
So instead of in the gym where there's hazing and people are throwing tennis balls at the freshmen, the freshmen are stupid, freshmen. It's
Does that still happen?
Not as severe, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wait, they throw tennis balls?
No. Well, there's still quite a bit of beef with freshmen.
There can be beef, just not tennis balls.
Yeah, whatever you're talking about didn't happen when I was in school.
Yeah, see, my school tried because they were like, we're supposed to do this. So we need to think of ways and force it. We're going to bring all the the JV football kids on. We're gonna steal their shoes. Just stupid hazing. And the school wanted to reduce that, so we had pep assemblies.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple pep rallies like my first couple years, but then by the time I was like a senior, it was nope. Now we're gonna shove you all in the auditorium, and then the football team will come up and they'll be like, yeah, football, and then the baseball team will come up and be like, yeah, baseball, and we all, okay, congratulations. And then I remember the robotics team was always part of it too, and it always started out really mean because the robotics people are really excited about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And they come out and they say, this is what we do. It's super rad. And then you'd start to hear the snide garbage, the chuckles and the, nerds, things like that. But then when they actually bring the robot out and they show this is what we're at this year, we're supposed to do this. We have to take the balls. We have to put them in the thing faster than other people take the balls and put them in the thing. And then you see what the robot does. It got quiet real quick. And then it turns into like bewilderment and like, holy you made that?
Uh-huh.
That like you all put that together, you designed that. So it turns into like secret, like, how do I get into that?
How do I do
but
that?
I can't because there's social stigmas that don't allow me to do so. And I feel like that stuff's lame, and it was always kind of fun to watch that happen, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I feel maybe I went to the only really bad school.
I mean, it still kind of happens because, like, we usually present at like freshman orientation and stuff, so we get all the little middle school kids coming in, and then we're like, "Hey, this is what we do. This is pretty cool," and then they're all on their phones. It kind of sucks, but,
Right?
and we demonstrate it.
God, so young with phones.
We do school events and stuff, and it was funny because the we did this thing, and all the other kids that got volunteer opportunities were doing like science things and all that, and then here we are with our estimated 5-foot robot throwing playground balls back and forth with the kids, and then all the science desk people, for lack of a better term, are like, they're stealing our kids. They have all the attention. They're not supposed to have the attention.
It's the kids love robots.
Yeah?
You can never go wrong with that. Kids, like, especially little ones, always want to go towards the robots. You win every time.
So the person who's like, look at this geology rock. It's rare.
Look at me put this baking soda in this vinegar. Look, it's purple.
Classic volcano. Am I right? Who didn't make a volcano? Raise your hand.
I made a water wheel instead.
I dig that.
Well, it did work.
I tried to.
There was mechanics involved.
Okay, so first of all, for stupid people like me, the science fair was a walking, living nightmare. Because it's, oh God, what do I do? You go to the library, try and find the books with the experiments. I tried to toast a bread using tin foil.
You didn't just make up your own?
No.
Oh.
I did once, and then it was made out of Legos. It was a sweet diorama for how to communicate between two friends' houses.
Huh.
And on the way to school that morning, I dropped it. I swear, I was a wreck, dude, because my brother helped me build it.
Uh-huh.
And like at the time, me and my brother weren't very close. All we did was fight because I was an angry, prepubescent child. But like we had it was really neat bonding moment, and I dropped it, and it smashed, and I was a wreck. It was... I'm like welling up a little bit thinking about it. It was brutal.
Okay.
But yeah, science fairs were very anxiety inducing because like I couldn't think of things to do, and I'd go in and I'd see what other people would do. Like, how did you do that? How are you so smart? But anyways, I'll stop hijacking everything.
There's that one kid who always would do clouds.
Or like
That's all I remember.
tornado vortex.
Clouds are boring to
Is
me.
teeth bad? Is sugar bad for your teeth? Yes, dude, it is.
Allie, how did you get started? It's like what got you on the team, or what got you interested in getting into it?
I got into robotics when I was in middle school with the first LEGO League program. But my sister was in engineering on the robotics team herself, so she kind of forced me and my brother to be on the team. She was the one who coached us per se, but my dad was like the mentor. we were forced to do it. And I was like, yeah, this is fine. This is a fun thing to do. And then when it came to high school, despite what everyone may think, I did not want to join it whatsoever. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was like, that's my sister's thing. You have an older sister. You kind of live in her footsteps. You're like, that's her thing. I'm going to do something completely opposite. I was forced to go to one meeting by my brother. I sat down, and my mentors will still tell me this and tell everyone to this day. Sat down next to my mentors, and I was like, I'm not coming back. This is my only meeting. And they're like, but you're a girl. Like, we want to keep girls on the teams because we only had like 2 at the time. And I was like, nope, this is my last meeting. You'll only see me as supporting my brother. And then I was captain for 2 years. And now I volunteer a lot. So that's my free time is I volunteer for 2 different programs. And I'm going into engineering. So
was there a particular moment that made that switch, or?
I went to that meeting, sat down, and said I wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
I knew about the team. I had grown up with it, basically. And it was one of those things where I just kept going. My brother was like, just come to another one. I don't want to be alone. Mind you, these are friends he's known for a while. No, just come to another one. Fine, I'll go to another one. And it just clicked with me. Something, my friend was like, oh, just sit at the computer. Watch me, like, program this thing. I was like, all right. And then I was like, okay, how'd you do that? So it kind of just clicked, and you're like, my curiosity got the better of me, and I wanted to know more.
It's like the intro to an episode of It's Always Sunny, where it's like, I'm not going to be interested in this. And then the title card is Allie goes to engineering school.
Exactly.
So it's I don't know. It's a dumb question, I guess. But along the terms of like, well, how long ago was that? Because part of me wants to say, like, how much has the technology changed since then? Like, are there just new programs? Or...
There is new programs, and they've changed slightly since then. So my freshman year was 4-ish years ago. We'll go with 2012-ish. And the programs have changed slightly. Obviously, they've gotten more advanced as technology advances, but it's still similar to this day. Just I was using a little bit more basic and learning it at that stage.
Because Megan was trying to explain to me, she's taking a summer class, just like a week-long thing at our local community college. And it's like how to design a thing on the computer and then have a machine cut it out. What was the machine?
CNC?
Laser water cutter.
Oh, a
thing?
laser jet?
Yeah.
Laser jet. Those are cool.
And all I know is that a steampunk guy has his own death laser at his place. And he programs his designs with like a vector program. And I'm like, is it a vector program? And Megan's like, we're past that. And that's all I know.
There's definitely different types. How I word it as with First Lego League. So that's what the middle schoolers use. It's the NXT Lego Mindstorms. You can do click and drop with blocks.
Yep.
Which is the easiest way.
Good old days.
But when you get to a certain
It used
point.
to be so easy.
Oh, yo.
It used to be like it's just click and drop. I want it to go like this fast, and it's great. But you can get more advanced into it, so you can code it like go into the details of it. And some FLL kids can actually do that, and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. Like my code got stuck here, and they're like typing out actual code, like, and I was like, you guys have lost me. You are way past my knowledge. I know the click and drop and add the numbers, but a little bit more of that now. But you can just change.
Do you credit, like, you kind of hinted at it earlier, like, were you planning on going to school for engineering before all this?
Absolutely not.
So, like, a meeting that was originally, I have no interest in this, supporting my brother, is you can all go kick rocks, has turned into this is my career path now.
Yeah, it was definitely the program. So I had grown up with it. So something that I knew what the robots did. They change every year, the game. And it was one of those things when I actually got to do it myself and do the hands-on work. And see these robots and learn more about everyone else's robots, because I have a lot of friends on other teams. I was very good at networking, as I like to call it. I had so many friends on so many different teams around the world. We went to World Champs my freshman year, and I think that kind of kickstarted it. So I had friends all around the world, in Canada and all the way in India. Like, it was just, had so many friends, and so learning about their experiences, it was one of those things that definitely like kickstarted that I want to continue to do this.
Did you get to do any of that when you went to Worlds?
Um,
Because I remember when you were like planning to go, and like there was a plan to try and meet people from other states, other countries. I don't know if it actually worked out.
I mean, not really, because the section that we were put in was like exclusively our district, so it was only people from surrounding states and that sort of stuff. And if they were from other states, it was Canada.
There's a lot of Canadians. There's a lot of
Oh,
Canadians.
so many.
I have a lot of friends who are Canadians and they volunteer with me.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, at one of the robotics programs I do at a reception, they make sure that they play the Canadian like national anthem. And you're like, there they all are, because they all congregate. There's a lot of them and they're really smart.
Yep.
I love my Canadian friends, but yeah, they.
So with that kind of grouping, Megan has told me sometimes like there might be a sudden urge to ask for parts or share things.
Yep.
And then I go, well, do you have to like calculate for metric versus
standard?
whatever American?
Usually not, because most of the time it's like pneumatic tubing and stuff. So we're just like, hey, can you lend us this stuff? And they're just like, yeah, we got a roll over there. Take it and cut how much you need. Bring it back. It's fine. But
You need like 6 inches.
we've never had to
What?
borrow like specific measurements of sheet metal and stuff, because usually, I mean, we've probably had to do it before.
There's a machine shop on site. Usually at all the different events, there's a machine shop that will have metal
Uh-huh.
if it comes to that. But usually it's like specific parts. They'll say like the specific measurement. And some American teams do use like screws that are in like metric.
Yep.
It just depends on what they chose.
Dumb question of the day to people who are into the science: do we need to just adapt? Is America just falling behind? Should we just do the damn metric system? Like,
We've gone too far at this point.
As much as I would like to be like, can we just please change the metric system? Yeah, we're too deep down the hole.
I just saw a post today on the book face. It was like, oh, there's a sinkhole about the size of 11 laundry
washing
washers.
machines or something like that.
It's like, can't we just? We have to measure in anything but metric.
We will literally measure with everything except the system that makes the most sense, because we're terrified of change. Like, did you see the like how to remember how long a mile is? It's like, I use this like phonetic sentence, and it's like, what? We're so dumb.
But we still have 5Ks instead of just calling it 3 milers.
Yeah, 3.2, 3 point. Kilometers are dumb. Miles are so easy. It's just 1 through. Anyways,
let's see. I guess year to year, for the competitions that you volunteer at and everything, and deciding on like what the goal of each competition is, like what the robots are gonna do and everything. Like, how wide a variety do you see come out? Like, are you often surprised, or do you go, yeah, that's expected?
There's some teams that definitely are out of the box ideas. You can get pretty specific with the strategy. So you can have like this past game, you had to take playground balls and put them into rockets, and then put like a cover over those rockets, like the hole that you put the playground balls into. That's the simplest way to describe that.
Yeah.
And some teams just put on those panels, while some just did the playground balls, while some teams did both, which that was kind of like bread and butter, like one does one or you do both.
do you mean like individual robots?
Yep. So it's 3 teams versus 3 teams. So you have to work together with other teams, which is how you get to meet some other people in other teams.
Got it. Okay.
So you'll have to work together, but sometimes teams are like, nah, I'm going to do both. It's fine. I can do both.
So they, like, everyone didn't have to build a robot that could both put balls in rocket and also put panel on rocket, or they would have different jobs.
They can choose what they want.
Okay,
so
got it.
You would pick your strategy coming out of the design phase of your robot. So whatever that team chose would be what you were stuck with.
So if you get matched up with a team who does the same thing as you, you're just.
I mean, you're out of luck.
Let's hope that third robot can help you.
Yeah, it's like usually there's defense bot and or I'm a distraction, just kind of in the way. Or let's do both and just stay out of the way of the functioning ones, because that was mostly our. We didn't function too well this season. We broke a lot, like a lot. We were in 53rd out of 53rd place at one of our competitions, which was.
Well, I mean,
You were still at the competition. Like that's no joke. Like, I know what it's like to both like do okay in a thing and also do very bad in a thing. But like the fact that you still went out, competed, it's a lot more than a lot of people can say.
I mean, we didn't really try it that one. It was an off-season one, so it was just like, let's let the freshmen drive, and then that kind of
off-season.
explains why we were like that. But it's still fun.
What was that the same like goal, the one
Yep.
that you were just talking about? Okay. Cuz it's like is this like nationwide, like worldwide, like this is the thing we're doing this year?
Yes.
This is the goal, the objective, you have to build something. Like when they give you that objective, can you literally do anything you want as long as it does that objective? Or is it like it cannot, you can't have it be more than 3 feet tall or
Yeah.
like
Yep.
No,
Definitely.
no
like that.
flamethrower.
So,
that's ridiculous.
yeah, no flamethrower actually has been a rule.
Yep.
That's in the
Oh,
rule
wait.
Which means someone broke that rule.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
oh.
Since you're here, Megan, ask about the coffee beans.
The coffee.
Oh my god. So
no.
in another league of this huge program, there's an oddly specific rule in the rule book: no coffee beans or loose ball bearings allowed on the robot. Which means, who put coffee beans?
Who was using coffee beans?
Who was using coffee beans?
And also, what's the advantage gained from coffee beans?
we were thinking it was like some sort of
The aroma would distract people.
wheel blocker because it was with the smaller bots. So it was like,
Oh,
I was
like it
gonna
could
say-
jam it.
I
yeah.
was like, did someone run out of like extra spare parts?
It's like James Bond cars. Drop the coffee beans instead
An
of
oil slick.
instead of like the jacks or whatever they are, the spikes.
The caltrops. Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't
the
sure
actual thing.
if this was something that Allie knew of, like
No.
understood the ruling on it.
I mean, there's the rule manual that's like 20 pages for that one, and then there's the rule manual for the one that we both do, which is like 120.
Oh, yeah.
So there's not much reading involved in that. It's kind of skimmed through. It's like, okay, you can't be over this. You can't set anyone on fire. Good enough.
Again, strongly disagree with that rule.
I mean, robots have set themselves on fire, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
motor failure.
Yep.
Right, of course.
Someone set themselves on fire at a competition, and
Explain.
I've smelled burning electronics before because I took a class for electronics, but a whole unit just burning. I mean, it was never fully in flames. I bet there was a little bit, but there was so much smoke, and it was in an enclosed space. We're all just kind of,
Dying.
yeah, pretty much. Yep.
In pre-show, you guys were chatting, and Allie had mentioned your sister's on the board,
The game design.
the game
committee,
design.
yes.
So that's how each year they decide what's happening in the game. So like this year's concept was like there's a rocket ship, and it's gonna take stuff away on the rocket.
Right. As they do.
And then but they each have names. So when you had said what one of the previous years was,
Oh, Power Up. There's one
And-
called Power Up.
and Megan was like, "Yeah, I know that one."
It's the one that I stalked the team at. I wanted to join.
What was the concept of that one?
Power Up was actually like a video game. It was like how I put it. It was like an 80s themed video game, so it had like the 80s like Mario look to it, kind of.
Mhm.
And you had to take it was milk crates and covers, but they were power cubes
Okay.
per se, and you had to put them on a scale. So your alliance had to have the most,
Mhm.
and then you had to put on smaller scales on your side to make them be for your alliance color. Because red versus blue, so you have the 3 robots against 3. So you're trying to defeat the boss in the end of that game. So it's very much a video game in that aspect.
Could you go knock down another team's blocks?
I'm not
You
really
got
sure.
a foul if you actually tried to like knock down their blocks that were on the giant scale in the middle, because it was right in the middle of the field. So you got robots trying to get it, and if they hooked onto that scale, you got like a foul. And there's some robots that would like just get stuck because there was like a plastic ledge on it, so the boxes wouldn't fall
Okay.
very fast. But a lot of robots' hooks just got stuck and they couldn't get it unstuck. So
What's the significance of a foul? Like, does it
so it's like a
severely
penalty.
impact? Like,
Yeah, it so you want to get the most points in the end. So a foul, depending if it's a technical or if it's just a regular foul, you'll get like a point deduction to it.
so you can get teed up in robotics.
Yep.
You can get the tee.
Teed up.
Like yellow cards and stuff. There's red cards and then there's yellow cards. We've
Good
gotten
lord.
yellow cards a couple times.
Why?
An array of reasons. I believe one time
Set people on fire.
there's a specific rule and it's like don't destroy the game pieces. So what did we do? Destroy the game pieces. I don't know if it was on purpose or not.
It happened.
We don't really talk to our drivers that much at competitions because they go into the pit and they do their fixie stuff, and then everyone else has to stay in the stands and scout, which is like you watch one robot on the field for hour shifts at a time.
Right.
Scouting kind of sucks, but
Crucial.
yeah, but at the end of the match, there's this thing on the screen, and then we see team name, number, score, isn't good, and then yellow card. And I think it happened at Worlds. So,
Huh.
yep,
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
yellow cards happen more than red cards, but 2 yellow equals a red. Then you're disqualified for certain things. It only matters in like playoffs. So.
Yeah.
Right. In as far as while we're still talking about like the challenges in both, I want to hear from the both of you. Like, what would you say the most difficult one that you had to deal with or overcome? What was like the toughest one, and had to deal with it?
Game wise, I'd say, I mean, there were the plastic balls that got popped a lot, and then they would get stuck in the tires, it would get stuck in the motors, and then overheat, plastic, hot motors, fire, nasty smells. And then there were the hatches, and they have Velcro on the sides, or hook and loop tape. Can't call it Velcro anymore.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Hook and loop tape.
specifically hook and loop tape. But
Was that how like there's Q-tip brand and then there's the other ones, but we just call them all Q-tips?
cotton swab sticks.
Yeah. So is it like that?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they like
Okay.
trademarked it or something, and they can't like use it in official announcements. But those like to get stuck under the robot a lot. They get stuck in the lift. They get stuck everywhere, and then sometimes you just break the field elements, like practice field stuff.
Mhm.
The things just break off, and then you can't place anything, and then drive practice kind of sucks. But I don't know. It's faulty field building, and/or us being stupid.
Okay.
Hardest challenge for me was when I was in high school. We had a game called I can't mix it up because it's Ultimate Ascent. The one after it's called Aerial Assist.
Okay.
So they're very, very similar.
Uh-huh.
So Ultimate Ascent had frisbees, and that was the first time we hadn't used like a ball type
Okay.
game piece.
I think I've only seen balls being used.
Yeah, so we had frisbees that we basically played ultimate frisbee into these goals that were on across the field, or you had these pyramids, like steel pyramids. They were like rectangular that you had to either climb at the end, but they also had a goal at the top that you had to shoot the frisbees at. It was just a very scary and
With
dangerous...
a robot.
With the robot had to shoot the frisbees, yeah. It was very scary. They had nets around the field and they only did so much. But the challenge was like the fact that it was a frisbee and getting that like compression on it. So because a ball is one thing, but when you flatten out the surface and make it hard plastic, it's a bigger challenge, especially when it's gonna.
And they have to get it to throw it.
Yeah.
I struggle throwing a frisbee enough myself, let alone making and designing a robot to do it better than me at a competitive level.
This sounds really interesting to me because I play a lot of frisbee. And it's like if you throw it one way, the spin is going to make an arc if it's not level. So you can do it on purpose, but you can't just like I'm at with a baseball when it comes out of the batting cages. It's the two things that are spinning that launch it.
Right.
But that won't work on a frisbee because it's supposed to spin in order to fly.
It's similar.
Yeah.
Similar how most of the designs worked out. You want to have something that's gonna guide it, but you only need the wheels on the side.
Yeah.
Did anyone have like a thing that would like an arm that would actually try and throw it?
Some tried.
Tried.
Were they powerful? No.
Huh.
And some of them would just get stuck because they would usually use pneumatics, and pneumatics are just difficult because of air issues and leakage. And
Yep.
Real talk.
I watched a video of our team doing the frisbee thing, and they had like a laser pointer with pneumatics, and then we have so many troubles with pneumatics these days, and it's just like, how were we so good back then? Why were we so good? Why are we not now? But yeah, pneumatics are tough.
It's because you talk too much drama instead of doing your robotic stuff.
What are you
I
getting
wish I
at?
could disagree, but I really can't. I mean, preseason's a lot. We sit there and we discuss with the mentors. Well, they discuss and we listen. Sometimes it gets narrowed down to literally counting the seconds until the meeting's over. Those are the rough days. Luckily, we only meet once a week. But then, as soon as build season starts, it's every single day. Not even joking. Every single day for 3 hours or more. And it's not that bad. And then postseason is no work whatsoever. Because it's just like, a couple people are needed to do repairs and stuff, and there's
Mhm.
parts list, which I unfortunately got assigned to, which is documenting every single thing in the robot. Screws, singular counting screws, washers, metal, specific measurements for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I gossiped a lot when I was trying to do that.
She'd come home and start saying there's so much tea. And I would go,
Spilled the robotics tea.
you're supposed to be building a robot. She's like,
I mean, it's already built. We were supposed to be building a second one just so we can not suck. But, you know, when you got that hot gossip that you just need to get through, you know?
Was this an issue on your team?
Kind of.
The robotics drama.
My team was very interesting, so it's not like all teams. They all are very different, especially how the dynamic worked. I liked my robotics team in general.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the people in specific, we had a mutual dislike of each other. There was a good, and it happened. Like that happens in high school.
Yeah.
So you would just stay away, and people did their own thing. Especially when the robot's built, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sleep deprived. I have other things to get done. So yeah, nope. Gossiping definitely happened. Mm-hmm. Our mentors are big fans of it sometimes.
Yes.
Well, that got a chuckle. Okay.
When does the season start? Because right now, like school's not in session.
Yeah.
Right now.
The season doesn't officially start until January. That's when kickoff is. It's like first weekend of January. You have an all-day meeting. The game gets released at one time, and then it's game on. You have a countdown and everything, and then it's just nonstop work for the next 4 months. But we usually, my team at least, starts meeting like, I don't know, early or late October. And then we start with 1 meeting, bumping up to 2 meetings. And then we have a break. And then we come back and it's like, I have to see you every single day. So, you don't want to overpower it when you don't have to.
Yeah.
So when Megan was doing FRC, and then I'm seeing posts from you, I'm like, oh, I'm at Vex. And I'm like, oh, these aren't the same thing.
No, they're not.
It's like you're both going to robotics worlds, and I'm like, you're in 2 completely different cities.
Yep. You probably went to Houston?
Nope.
You
Detroit.
went to Detroit this year. You guys went to Houston 1 year.
Yes. Yep.
Try to remember. They changed because you guys are a legacy team. So they won an award, so they get to go to world championships every year until a certain point in time. So they changed. They get to choose because there's 2 for first. But yes, so I do Vex Robotics. In the state of Maine, there's not many high schools that can afford to do FRC. It is bigger robots, and it's from scratch. So Vex is more of a curriculum based, so they can do it in a classroom. So a lot of schools will have a robotics class.
Okay.
And they can produce multiple tiny robots. So it's similar to the FTC program in that aspect. FTC is very similar to that. So they're smaller robots. They fit within like a box. You can fit them in a classroom, so you can have 4 in a classroom, and it's very easily. They're maybe 1 foot tall, if that. Sometimes they can grow to be taller. But yeah, so I do Vex Robotics. I volunteer, and I run the events throughout the state of Maine because I go to school in Maine. And it's a similar program, but it's different. It's just a smaller scale when it comes to it. So their season starts, their game gets released at their World Championships in April, and then they get to start building basically right away.
So what is the Electric Eagles one? Because Buzz is your big robot.
Yep. And then Electric Eagles is like, it's officially First Tech Challenge, and then there's First Robotics Competition, which is like the big ones.
Okay.
But First Tech Challenge, we meet like 3 or 4 times a week. Our robot is very specifically 18 by 18 by 18 inches, because we've had to file our wheels down frantically at competition before, and they're like, you need to be under 18 inches. And we're like,
Yeah, Vex is similar to that with the sizing.
Okay.
They have like sizing tools that basically I've done
like
inspection
a
before.
box.
You literally just like size over, and then you size around it. You're like, and you fit. Okay, fit in this box shape. Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
It reminds me of the panic attack when they weigh your Pinewood Derby car.
Yeah.
When if you were too light or too heavy, or because what are you going to do? The car's done.
Swiss cheese it. That's
you
what
go.
you got to do. Just drill holes in it until it's the weight you want.
That gives me enormous
Swiss cheeses.
anxiety.
Swiss cheese it. That's
Okay.
like an actual thing that we do. Because the big robot has to be like 125.
120. It changes sometimes, but
Mhm.
it's been 120 for a few
We were
years.
124.5. So, that's always fun. We had a lot of holes in the robot. And then our little one has to be like under 42, I think. I'm not
Something
really sure.
like that, yeah.
But
Huh. So anything we've covered so far, Meg, do you think you have any questions for Allie?
not with the stuff we've covered so far.
Okay. Do you have anything else
She's
you
a,
want to ask
she's a
about?
pro right now.
I have a couple questions. But
Okay.
all right. So one thing I've had an issue with is being a female in a predominantly male, business.
So, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yes.
I'm apologize. I'm doing the thing you're talking about. When Meg would do like, what do I talk about? And I was like, well, here's a list that maybe you could deal with. And we never got to this. But when I was talking with Allie, I was like, if you feel there's something you need to say, if you've dealt with sexist BS or whatever, like, go ahead and pitch it out there. This is your floor. So like, this isn't something I coached Megan into.
I mean, I'm just curious and knowing because I've had like so many issues with it. Like even like first year, you wouldn't really expect that, but now I'm doing it at a larger scale, and there's a lot more trouble that comes with it. Because I think it was first week of build season, waiting in the shop for my job, been there for 45 minutes, and keep asking this one mentor that I usually work with. I'm like, hey, do you have any jobs for me? Like, I'll do anything, even if it's just like drilling a couple holes, doing that. And he's like, you can sew this thing. And yeah, you can sew the Velcro onto this thing. And I'm like, I'll pass. But then my friend comes in and he's like, hey, what's up? And then he's a guy. And then this mentor is like, oh, I have all these jobs for you.
Huh.
Telling my friend. And then he's like, oh yeah, Meg, you could go watch. I'm like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? So we worked together on it. We were working on 550 motors. We were putting them together. Pretty simple job. I could have done it, but
What's a 550 motor?
it's a little teeny tiny motor. We needed them for a manipulator part. So
Okay.
yeah, they're just little, and you have to put them on a bearing type thing so you can attach them to the bot and wire them up, and then have them do what they need to do. But it was testing, putting gears in, applying, all that. Pretty simple. But
Yeah, simple.
Real
so,
simple. It's just
So simple. I understand everything that you've said so far. 550s, am I right, Alex?
totally.
but this guy's really pretty cool, and he's like, you were waiting for this job, so we're gonna do it together, and then we're gonna bring it back, and it's gonna be great. So we're working on it. It's just open the thing, put it together, put it back, and we bring them all back, and then this guy's like, oh, these are perfectly done. And then my friend's like, yeah, she did them. And then the mentor went, oh, nice job. And it was just like, made him a little quake in his boots for a second. made him fear, and then he immediately started checking for mistakes.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
Isn't that amazing? He
Cool.
literally just said
they're perfect.
they're
Yeah.
perfect.
yep.
But now I don't think they're perfect
Yep.
because you did them.
I've had that happen quite a few times. All the guys get the cool jobs, like, I don't know, like, I can't think of anything now. I haven't done it in quite a few months.
Right,
But I get to drill 3 holes in a little teeny tiny piece of sheet metal, and if it's not right, then you're out of the shop for the day, right? It's perfectly fine. I've had people tell me, you messed up this one thing because, well, the person that was giving me instructions really didn't do a good job. He was like, drill all the way through. I'm like, okay, drill all the way through? No. I was supposed to countersink it or whatever. I hate countersinking so much. So I messed up this whole Swiss cheese piece of material, and I was banished from the shop for the day.
Huh.
I've had people tell me that I can come back at cleanup time when it's time to sweep.
What the
And until then, I can go work on other things. So, yeah, kind of sucks, but we've worked through it. It's gotten a little bit better.
Okay.
No, that's something that definitely happens. Things that you just said, I was like, flashbacks to high school. Even flashbacks to, like, college, which is sad to say that it still is happening. In high school, I was on the programming team for 2 years, which is really funny because I don't like programming anymore. I like it somewhat, not as much. I'm a mechanical person now. I like how the robot works. But I had a mentor who was like, oh, you can go like learn to do this. So-and-so is going to learn actually how to code the robot. And my friend, who luckily was in charge of the programming sub-team, he was like, oh, you're going to learn how to program the robot, but at competitions, because like this mentor was like, no, you can go learn the basics over there. And I was like, I just want to do things. Yeah. I actually had a professor once. He no longer works for the university anymore that I went to. It's not the one I go to now. That me and my friend, we are the only 2 female engineers, because it's just engineering studies. He was like, oh, can you guys come and help me with this? Sure. We went, and he said it to the entire room. So we went, and it was literally picking up kits. Like, it was something basic and stupid. And he was like, oh, you're helping? You got to understand, I'm used to like women being lazy and not wanting to help.
Huh?
And my friend, the Spitfire she was like, excuse me? She is my favorite human. She was like, we are perfectly capable. And there's a reason he no longer works for the university. No, that has happened a lot. I'm one of 5 females in a class of 80 graduating soon in mechanical engineering. And yeah, even with robotics, that's kind of what pushed me away from engineering, but also pushed me towards engineering, because they told me I couldn't do it. I had team members telling me I couldn't do it. Again, that mutual dislike was not the greatest thing to have. And even when I was the captain of the team, my mentor would give we had it as CEO, so we had it as a business, and he would give my COO, who is the one under me, although I treated him as equal, he'd give him all the credit for every single work I did. And I had to do a lot of the submissions for sponsors and all these things. The guy always got the credit. And I was like, hi, my name's on that document, not his. But it's one of those things you're like, I'm fully capable here, guys.
Along with that is like, I don't know, there were 5 girls on the team out of, I think, 18 or 19. Kind of rough, but you know, that's pretty big of a group for the girls, at least. But I've had some of the guys on the team tell me, no shade towards them, a little bit of shade though.
Mild shade.
I've had them tell me, yeah, the girls feed into it, because like they get told they can't do the jobs, and they're like, all right, I'm gonna go sit in this room and eat a snack. And it's like, no. No, you tell us we can't. And then it's like, we try to bicker, and then it's like, you're not wanted here. And then it kind of makes
you're
you
being
feel...
difficult. Why are you making it difficult? Just do what we ask you.
Yeah, why are you being difficult? This is why we don't want you in the shop. And it's like, bro.
Well, you just gotta try harder.
Bro.
Just try harder without being difficult.
Yep.
It's that whole work twice as hard for half the result.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, especially in the shop when I was in high school, we had, my freshman year, we had a decent amount of girls. We had like about 5 or 6 on a team of 40, which sounds like a low number, but it's actually like a decent amount. And then when I got to be like a senior, there was 3 girls. And that's including myself, on a team of about 35. So we went down by 5, but lost a lot of girls. And I had a lot of people being like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you can actually do this? I'm like, can you just let me be myself? Or if I was being stubborn, they'd be like, are you okay? I'm like,
oh my God.
Do you have any advice for how to counteract that, or how to combat it?
It's one of those things where right now the stigma is changing, which is so great, especially since like going through all those issues. I know how much frustrations and how many times I was like, I just want to quit. I don't want to deal with this. This is stupid. But you just gotta, like, the stigma is changing. You gotta know that you are the change and be like, yeah, we want to bet. I'm gonna do this instead and show you you're wrong. Yeah. Kind of what I'm doing it right now. A lot of my mentors right now did not think I was going to be an engineer, and I was like, no, I'm going to be an engineer. And they're like, sure you are.
Oh my God. That condescending tone of voice. I hate it so much. And oh my God, I'm told so much. It's just a generational thing. Oh, it's generational. I roll my eyes every time I hear that word. Every time someone even says that 5-foot radius to me, I roll my eyes, because it's just such an awful term. Because like, it excuses rude behavior towards the new generation coming into things that's going to fix the mistakes. I mean,
no, go for it.
This is a very, like...
Don't stop.
Oh, I get so irritated by this.
To be fair, I understand exactly where you're coming from. So we actually were both on similar teams. My team actually was created by her team a long time ago. And they have similar mentors. And those mentors are so set in their ways. And some of them have gotten used to the fact that, like, females can do more things, and it's like change with the times, but some of them are very stubborn, and I have an idea of exactly who you're talking about because I have interacted with those mentors.
Yeah, but it's pretty rough sometimes. But we're getting new mentors this year. Hopefully things will change, but
I think they will.
can't
I
really-
know what mentors are coming because it's weird because my friends are now mentoring teams. I mentor 3 different high school teams, which is very weird for me because
So you don't necessarily have to be an employee of the school to be a mentor for this?
a lot of them are engineers. So that's how we have similar mentors. They're from the same company. Which they branch off and they choose which area or which town they want to go to. But I know what mentors are coming to your team, and I promise you, they know the changes that need to come, and that's the best part.
So it's like if someone wants to mentor a team and help out, they're not coming from a teaching background, so they might not really have the best grasp on how to talk to people.
Not always. Sometimes, for the most part, recently they've been alumni, which is really great.
Right.
They know what the issues are in the program. They know what they want to change, and they know how to handle situations. Some of them who are brand new to the program or have been in the program a while, there's that saying that I hate the most is, we've always done it this way.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
I heard that so much this
And
year.
it's not the way to do things.
Yeah.
It's just not.
And it's just like, you have the opportunity to accept change with open arms, but it's like, let's be difficult. Let's do it the hard way, just because we've done it before. And we're afraid of messing up and making mistakes and, learning what the program's about. Let's not do that. So, it's, I don't know, hoping for change. And I'm always told, like, oh, woman in engineering, what's that? Oh, what? And it's like, yeah, it's kind of gonna happen, because the world is a technologically advancing place. No matter what we want to think, it's always going to be getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and we need people to get smarter with it. So,
I mean, for what it's worth, after today, I know 2 engineers, and both of them are women. Maybe my friends are just dumb.
Because there was a point when Megan was telling me like what machine she can work on, what machine she's learned about at school. And I occasionally I forget how old you are by means of like when you say I can work on this machine, and I go, when you say you can work on it, do you mean like you do the work and the teacher stands next to you to make sure you don't hurt yourself, or can you just walk up to it and use it? And Megan's like, I just walk up to it and use it. And I'm like, okay.
it's funny because it's like there's very minimal guidance in the shop where I spend my days. But it's just like, as long as we have one moderately looking adult person in the shop, we could do whatever we want. It really sucks when there's no adults in the shop, because then it's just like we all just stare at each other and do nothing. But when there is there, you have to fight for jobs, and as soon as you get a job, it's free game. You know what to do. I've learned my lessons with what I need to use. First day I used particle board, and I drilled into it, and I had splinters for a couple weeks. So it's kind of a learn as you go. We have very minimal training. We were doing a lesson on milling machines one day, and 3 hours spent looking at an old guy talking is kind of rough sometimes. So it's just like, if I cut my hand off, oh well, I'll know how to use it. But you just
Won't
go
do it
there.
again.
And
Wait,
usually
hang on. The old guy talking, did he have all his fingers?
he's damaged a little bit. Like he's got calluses and scars all over
Okay.
his hands, just shop hands.
But
Like,
are the fingers there though?
I mean, mostly.
See, when they talk a lot, it's because they want you to keep all your fingers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it just contributes to possibly losing more fingers, because it's like,
'Cause you fall asleep.
at the end of the day, you've done school for 8 hours, and then you have an additional 2 hours of homework, because most of the time robotics kids are like the smart ones that take the AP classes and the honors classes, and after school it's just like, I want to die. But then you go into robotics, and this mentor that hasn't had to work all day because they're all retired, they're all old, are just like, okay, lectures. More lectures, more lectures,
My
more
day's
lectures.
just starting.
Yeah, their day's just starting, while ours is just like crashing into the ground as you speak.
Meg, I don't think your mentors can listen to this episode, by the way.
I used to have to do I did all the music stuff in school. So like I was in select choir, and I was in show choir. Select choir rehearsed on Tuesdays, show choir rehearsed on Thursdays. That was 2 rehearsals that I had to go to every week. And even then I was like, oh God, I'm so tired. Cause like, and I had a job at the time, but I worked 2.5 hours a day. I worked from 2:30 to 5 or something like that. It's like I barely worked. It was like 3 days a week. I had like a couple rehearsals, and even then I was like, God, I am so overworked. I can't even be bothered to do my homework tonight. Here, let me get denied from every college I applied to. So to hear like every day for like many hours.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's rough because at school they do announcements in the morning, and it's always like, oh, JV soccer. Someone put on their shirt.
Oh, what a hero.
And it's just like, oh, okay, but like, we meet every day, and like we flew to Detroit and we got a really good ranking, but like they don't mention us at all. And then it's just like, JV boy took off his sneaker.
Well, so, whack the mic. So like in that instance, is it up to you guys to like get your information into the announcements?
I mean, we've struggled with it before. We've gone to the principal and it's like, hey, we do probably more work than the JV kids do. Can you like give us some sort of cred? And they're like, eh.
Because in the past there's been situations with one of my jobs where it's like, if we're not getting the recognition, then maybe it's up to us to get us recognition. You know?
But they get it for free, and then we have to work for it, which kind of really sucks.
What's your favorite like machine to work on? Because you were talking about, it's like because there was some kind of cutting tool.
Yep. And
you were taking a class for welding.
Yep.
It's like, you have like a preferred device or tool that you've really taken to?
Oh gosh, I love welding. I love welding so much. I could spend hours. Yeah, it's just like one of those things. It's exhilarating because, you know, you could set your hair on fire, you could burn your hands off, but
you could blind yourself.
You could blind yourself pretty easily. You could get like a permanent sunburn on your eyes, which like I've had it happen before. Arc flash, you know.
That's the most metal thing I've ever heard in my life.
But then at the same time, it's like I can make this beautiful piece of metal and it looks so shiny, and I'm so proud of it.
These 2 pieces of metal used to be separate. Now they're one.
But it's just like a certain sense of pride where you're like, I just formed a new thing of molecules that are now more than they were before. I'm reaching really good definitions here.
That's good. Yeah.
Welding.
Yeah, but I love welding. I like tapping on a horizontal crap, what is it called? Lathe. Yes. Horizontal lathes. Nice. Those are great. It's interesting.
Lathes are the most mesmerizing tool, and watching someone who like knows what they're doing, aka anyone who's done more than me, is the most fascinating thing. Like, in the things that you can make out of a lathe, it's ridiculous.
It's just like kind of circle pieces, but you know, sometimes it's soothing when you've had your teammates in your face since 7 a.m, and it's like reaching 3 p.m, and you didn't get lunch break because you're really focused on this one thing. The lathe is just kind of off in a corner, and you just have to spin this thing and slowly work at it, oil your parts so it doesn't catch on fire. You know, it's just pretty simple, but it's less of a threat than burning your hands off on the bandsaw or cutting your hands off on a bandsaw. But burns are quite common too, because if you're cutting a teeny tiny piece of metal, then your hands are just going to be on fire, and it kind of sucks. And then there's handrails, but those are kind of boring because, like, you know, a lot of people know how to use
handrails. Are just boring. Everyone can use a handrail.
Yeah, everyone can use a handrail. Not everyone can weld.
Oh, hand drill. I think it said handrail.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, what?
I hope people use handrails.
Allie, same question.
See, I like a rivet gun. I like to rivet the like frames. Mm-hmm. I always got to rivet the frame together of the robot, and for some reason it's like a ton of air at once. But I don't know. I like it's powerful at the same time, and like no one wants to come near you. Yeah, it's very satisfying. No one wants to come near you because you're literally like jolting yourself every time you're trying to push down this like massive amount of air.
Yeah.
Huh.
One thing that still it kind of boggled my mind a little bit. Because in middle school, one of the required classes that we had to take was called tech ed. I don't know if it was the same. Like, a lot of people call it shop. In my middle school, like, we also, home ec was called family and consumer science in my middle school. it's home ec, but no, it's F&C science. So we also had tech ed, which is technology education, and that's where there's the shop, and you build the CO2 powered balsa wood cars. I don't know if you guys ever did that. There's also you have to design a bridge in CAD, and then you have to build the bridge,
CAD!
and then
yes.
and then you hang weights off of it, and whoever's bridge supports the most weight wins, and all that stuff. And like it was neat. I was really bad at all of it, just terrible. But then like after middle school, it was an elective. So like you wouldn't have to take it ever again unless you chose to. And me being the music geek I just did all the music electives and fulfilled all my electives through that. And then I remember my senior year, I was in just a terrible, awful band with my friends, and we wanted to make T-shirts. And like, they got a print shop down in the basement with the shop. And I was like, what are you talking about? And like I went down, it was my senior, I'd been in high school for 4 years at this point. This is toward the end of high school too. Like it was like April. So I was graduating like a month and a half. And like we went down, like there was a print shop for T-shirts. And I was like, there's like a lift for cars. There's a whole, you could do anything down here and you can just go whenever you want. What is this land? I didn't know it existed. Like
our mechanic shop was next to the art department, so.
Yeah, I didn't do any art either because music was considered an art elective, so I didn't have to take any art classes or anything like that. So, but it was amazing. It really, and I was like, I wasted 3.5, almost 4 years without ever knowing that any of this was down here. I just figured they did it somewhere else. Where else would they build a robot?
I'm curious, Allie, are there any unspoken secrets that you've discovered that might help younger girls through either engineering or tech, or it's a very broad question.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to aim it towards something more well defined.
Definitely, just you have to have the belief in yourself. So I'll use an example. A lot of what I do now with robotics is I volunteer as an MC, and I am one of the few females, surprisingly, that MC. I usually right now I look like a normal human, but usually I have like a whole getup. I wear red lipstick, so everyone really knows me when they're like, "Oh, for first robotics." I was named by an FLL kid, so this is a middle schooler who named me, and I continue to use it. I'm known as Electric Alley because I wear like lightning leggings. So there's a reason for it. But everyone's like, oh, you like everyone's happy to see me. But when I first started, it was the hardest thing to get into. I actually got my start in Florida, not even in New England, which is surprising because I live in New England. And it's mainly male dominated. Shocking, right? Robotics, male dominated, right? What? And it's one of those things where you just have to have the drive. And you have to just believe in yourself, despite when I'm like, oh, I just did terrible at that. Like, at least I went out there and did it. So having that confidence and not letting people tell you no. I had mentors that told me, you're not going to be an engineer. I had friends that were like, you sure you want to go into engineering? I was like, I'm good at math and science. I don't understand what you see here. So just having that belief and just keep pushing through. Even the bad days, those bad days are going to come and they're going to be terrible. But just pushing through, and as long as you have that little bit belief and that little fire lit in like your mind and in your belief that you're like, I want to do this, you have that desire, like you're going to be able to push through. It's one of those things that you got to prove them wrong. I'm one of those people that if someone tells me I can't, I'll be like, watch me. Oh, you want to bet? I will figure out a way to make this work for myself. I'm very stubborn in that aspect.
That's a much better answer than just being like, well, this one specific math class is really going to help out with your program. Yeah. Do your homework. That's my college thing. Is do your homework. Don't be lazy, and pay attention in class, despite how boring it might sound. But yeah, no, believe in yourself. I still get it sometimes, and I've been official season, quote unquote, emceeing since for 4 years now. Now I feel old. For 4 years now, I've been like an official season MC, been doing events on my own, so I don't have like someone else being the lead. I've been the primary MC. I mean, you saw my posts from Vex Worlds, which is this past Vex Worlds. I volunteered for the younger program last year, and then this past year I volunteered for the program, the high school and middle school program.
and they wanted me to do finals, which only 3 MCs get to do finals. And I'm still in shock, and I still say it didn't exist. There's pictures, and I'm like, that wasn't real. But it's one of those things where it's pretty interesting to see how the lack of females, especially like just on a microphone, is, and how some people push back. They're like, well, I prefer this guy, and I'm like, okay, it's your preference. They're like, are you sure you can do this? Or like, I have AV guys all the time go, now remember, I have to fix your levels because you have a higher voice. And I was like, I'm aware. I know how microphones work.
Well,
I haven't touched your levels since like the second minute of the show, for what it's worth.
Well, when those posts went up, and I was telling Megan, I was like, she's had some entertainment experience. I'm sure she knows what she's doing.
That's true. I did have the microphone training, which was helpful for me to get my foot in the door for an off season. I just emceed in an off season, so they're like, "Oh, you have microphone training. You're not going to screw up our microphones that bad." But a lot of people think it's because of like our voices are higher, and they're like, "It doesn't sound the same." And I was like, "So it's going to be different." Especially with Vex, you do a mixture of game announcing and emceeing. Well, at first you have 2 different people who does the play-by-play game announcing, or you have the MC who's on the field being like the face.
Color commentary, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Stuff like
so
that.
you have 2 different people doing that instead of where Vex, you have the one person. So with my experience through Vex, I can game announce and I can do the play-by-play. And then someone at first will be like, you can game announce? And I'm like, yeah, I do it for world championships. They think I'm good enough, and they're like,
the biggest one.
I was like,
Like, so I'm an idiot. I'm going to compare it to wrestling. So in pro wrestling, the moves never change. It's like the guy throws a Northern Light suplex. It's always going to be a Northern Light suplex. It's not, if a guy comes up with a new move, they'll figure it out.
yeah.
It's like he's got a new finisher. But aside from that, they're all classic moves. Everything's classic. But with the goal or the specific, like, what the concept of the thing is, does that take used to? Do you have to get used to that year after year of being like, well, to contrast from cubes to the blocker discs to
Yep. Yes. You have to make sure you don't call them like this year. The playground balls were called cargo, and in your head you have to be like cargo. It's called cargo. Where like you want to call it. Some years it's called a ball, and some years it's not. And so you have to like sometimes tell yourself, especially when it comes to off seasons, you'll see like your announcer group go, "What are they called again? What is it called?" And like have to remember they are power cubes. They are cubes. They are not boxes or stuff like that.
It's the thing where I'm imagining like a director or the writer being like, "They're orbs this time."
We do
and like
have
throwing
like,
a script on the floor.
we do have like a head MC. So MCs and announcers have like a meeting every week. And if someone like says something that sounds a little bit weird when you're commentary, they're like, let's prefer not to say this, or make sure you say it this way. And there is like a kind of a defined way we have to say certain things. So like example, this year it was Destination Deep Space presented by the Boeing Company. And you had to say it as Destination Deep Space presented by the Boeing Company because the Boeing Company was a huge sponsor and they deserve the recognition. But you had to say Destination Deep Space presented by the Boeing Company. And you would see in the beginning announcers be like Destination Deep Space because they're not used to having a season sponsor. And they're like presented by the Boeing Company, like really fast. Like, I said it.
Oh, right.
It's fine. But it's one of those things that you just have to get used to it year for year, especially they throw curveballs sometimes.
Brings back the old days of accidentally calling Tweety a girl on the mic, and then you get called up to the trailer.
Tweety's a boy, by the way.
Tweety is a boy. Fun fact. Tweety is a
he
boy
is.
bird.
Even though there's merch where he's wearing a princess dress.
Hey,
It happens. It's
but
fine.
dudes can wear dresses,
Yeah,
you know?
it's no
It is
problem.
what it is.
Tiaras. I don't get a tiara.
I would like a tiara.
When you were talking about like designing new games and challenges, is that something you would also look forward to doing, or is that like, because with the game design, it's like, is that a huge headache? Is there a lot that goes into that? Is that really time consuming?
From being related to someone who goes into that,
Uh-huh.
I don't know much. Everyone thinks I know a lot more than I say I do.
Okay.
And I'm like, guys, she can't really tell me anything. And they're like, you know more than you're telling. I'm like, no, I literally don't know anything. I just know if work is stressful this week or if that. But there is a lot that goes into it because she does give us the basics of, it goes into, and it's a lot that goes into game design. And then when it comes to like the actual like And with the teams, it comes into a lot with their strategy. So when teams are like, this is what I'm going to do, there's so much that goes into it. Like, you have a full day, probably 2 days. I know my team took 2 days to decide what the basics of our robot was going to do. But so a lot goes into the robots, a lot goes into the game itself, especially when it comes to like sponsorship, because the robotics programs are always getting new sponsorships. So there's a lot that goes into it. That's why everyone tries to guess what the game is really early. And they're like, we don't even know what fully it is yet. Like, it's a shell of a thing right now. Or they're trying to guess like the next year's game as they release that year's game. You're like, guys, let's focus on this one.
So wait. So in 2 days, you have to decide what the robot's going to do?
It's more like a week for us because we suck at deciding things.
What if you change your mind?
It sucks to be us.
Too late.
Because go ahead.
All right. Mostly brainstorming week is pretty much run by the mentors, and the kids sit there and we listen, and sometimes we're lucky enough that we could throw out ideas. But first is designed, or at least the league that we're in, for the most part, is designed to be run by mentors, and the students just kind of help out. But it's all about the students in the long run. But where was I going with this? I had an important point.
If you want to change your mind.
Yes, brainstorming. We almost have, like, we mark down how many times the mentors start arguing. I think we reached 25 in like a 7 to 5 day one time. And it was ridiculous. It was just like constant, and it wouldn't stop. But you sit there and you discuss and you say, hey, that sounds stupid if it sounds stupid. And it's just like, that's your input. But brainstorming is a lot.
So when I do special effects makeup, and my director will say, I had an idea to do this to somebody. Can you do that with makeup? And I usually say, no, I can't do that. And then, like, I think about it and 3 days go by, and then I get back to him and I go, I have an idea to make this happen. And he goes, okay, I'll put it in the script. And I go, all right, because I think I can make it work. So, like, if I stuck to my very first thought of, like, that can't happen. And then, like, either I looked up some research or I thought about it some more. And it's like, well, here's an alternative method to do the thing that you want. It's like, it's for kids who haven't had a lot of experience with, like, a lot of different robots and what machinery can do and what's available to them. It would be kind of disappointing if, like the day after you start building, you go, wait, can we not use the elevator? Can we
we have done that.
Can we do an umbrella instead?
I mean, like, our lift wasn't done until we sent the thing over to electronics to start wiring it. I think that's how it worked, because electronics can't start until shop team is completely done. And being on mechanical, it's just like, well, shop team and electrical have a little bit of beef with each other sometimes. But
that's every team.
Yeah, and programming is just kind of in the middle of it.
Programming is the angry one.
Programming's always the angry one, yeah. But luckily, we keep our programmers in their own little room off to the sides. We just kind of push them away. But God, where was I going with this?
Changing ideas? Changing
ideas, yes. This build season flew by. It was like a dream. Well, not a good dream. It was more of a nightmare, kind of. A whole lot of drama happened. But the lift wasn't a thing, because the mentor that was supposed to design the lift just stopped showing up, or he, like, went to Florida or something.
Oh.
Something along the lines of that. And then one of the mentors was like, yeah, the Velcro doesn't work to pick up the hatches, so I'm gonna design this new thing, and I'm not gonna.
The what?
Oh, sorry.
The hook and loop. Is that what it's?
Hook and loop tape. The hook and loop tape that we put on this manipulator device that's supposed to just suck up the hatch panel and throw it on the thing.
Okay.
Is not working as we planned. So I'm just gonna put these little pneumatic piston finger thingies on here without discussing it with any of you, and it's gonna be our best thing. And it was our best thing.
Oh.
And it kind of happened after the fact, and then we all came back the next day and we're like, hey, what are these scraps of metal doing on here? Who put those there? Because it's a very planned out thing for the most part. Well, the kids don't know about it, because it's just like, take this 80-20 and cut it into this increment and then give it back to me. And that's all we know. But after the fact designing is very, very prominent in what we do.
Is there ever like a moment of panic, like when you get to an event and you see other teams' robots,
Always.
and you're
All
like,
the time.
"Oh God, why
All-
didn't we think of that?"
Yep, all the time.
There is a team in Connecticut that's like one of the best in the world. I
Oh,
think.
yep. I know who
And-
you're talking about.
Yeah, right? I was like,
Probably
one of the
Windsor
best in the
Locks, am I
world.
right?
Can we say team names or no?
I don't see why not.
All right, so I'll say so the Cider Nights.
As long as
Oh,
you're nice about it.
195.
The Hua?
No, I'll be nice. I actually like a lot of people on that team. A lot of friends there.
What's the name again?
Cyber Nights.
Cybern. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
so they're from Connecticut, and like they're
Amazing.
They-
Amazingly good.
and like how I don't know. They always come out with best robots. They're one of the best in the world, honestly. They always come out with from World Championships a division winner or the captain of a division. Like,
They've won so many things. It's just like they win so many awards at only one
but
event.
they're mostly for the most part like they're very competitive.
Yes.
We will say they're very
Yes,
very
yes,
very
yes.
competitive.
Okay.
But the kids are nice in general. If you
Yeah.
talk to them, they're nice. Some if something's going wrong, that's a different story. But everyone gets stressed out. There's some hate towards them because they are so good. And everyone's
Yeah.
like, they're just gonna win. It's fine.
Yep.
But no, I definitely had that attitude. I was like, oh well, I know who's winning here because you have those good teams that are really close, and you're like, shocking. You're all hanging out together today, and tomorrow's the picking of the alliances. Oh, we know what's happening
Yeah.
here. Oh, and this one's you're not doing as well today. So
Funny how that works.
There's always that kind of drama. Like alliance selection. It's always 195 is always top. And
but they earn it. Like their robots
They
are
do.
beautiful.
Yep.
Are they like on the internet? Can I go find
Yeah,
them?
definitely.
If you
Okay.
look up FRC Team 195, you'll find them,
Yeah.
and their robots are beautiful.
Yes.
They're
Megan-
gonna laugh at me now.
Megan taught me a lot of them are on Instagram,
Yes.
Okay.
and you can
Yep.
look up like their team number and stuff.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And a lot of them follow each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
So once you find
You
one,
can start hopping.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
yeah.
I do that. Like even on personal accounts, it's like, oh, I know them. They came to our field once. I love them.
I have teams that follow me now as a volunteer because I just post so much about robots. Or
Uh-huh.
like when I was on a team, I had friends that were like, "Oh, I know you," and they would follow me. So now I have a lot of teams that follow me, which is weird.
It's funny because like going into high school, I never thought that I'd be spending my free time like an hour away at a competition, like with a bunch of super smart people. Like being in a room with such smart people is like, holy crap, I'm capable of a lot. But I would never think that I would spend my time obsessing about how pretty a robot is. But like I do it so
But
much.
people don't understand when you're like, you see these robots, you're like, that is a beautiful robot. Like, Aces High this
I
year.
was just gonna say
their
that.
robot.
Oh my
so
God.
Aces High is actually like really close to both of our teams.
Yeah.
They're like the middle.
Okay.
Yep.
They complete the trifecta. I kind
Yeah.
of say. We were all sponsored by the same mutual company.
Okay.
Yep.
And we got mentors from them.
We bust together
Yep.
to a lot of competitions.
Yeah. We sometimes bust with them.
Yep.
But they've had some rough years, and teams go through rough years because the kids change each year.
Mhm.
And they recently just got alumni that came back and was like, "We're taking this over," and they are really good alumni, and you can tell. Their robot this year was beautiful.
Oh my God.
Their colors are red and black, and
Yes.
the robot was like
They had,
anodized
like,
colors.
they had LEDs and stuff.
Yes, there's LEDs.
LEDs were beautiful.
They had their robot was red and black, like anodized, like so they stained the metal to be their team colors, and it was
Uh-huh.
just this robust machine too, and it performed.
Their swerve drive was amazing.
Swerve drive's not easy to do.
Swerve drive.
Swerve drive.
It's just like it's so smooth and like it looks so effortless.
Is that the thing with the wheels that look like they go straight, but then they go sideways somehow?
Nah, that's
Is it-
lateral.
Think of
That's-
a grocery cart, like a shopping cart.
Yeah,
That's kind of swerve drive.
Oh.
That's the easiest way to
but
describe
on
Yeah.
it.
purpose.
With the twisty
I was
wheels and all that.
trying to find the words to be like, but intentionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they were so great. And then with the scouting is a whole nother aspect. But scouting these beautiful teams, it's like, oh, I actually have a good one that I can like do things with.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say fun to watch. When you have to do it for like 9 hours in one day, it's like I want to dig my eyes out of my skull. But sometimes you have those good teams, and it's like, oh, it's fantastic. Like I could actually. And then me being me, I needed glasses, which I now have on my face at this moment. But
Right.
I had to use my phone camera to zoom in on the robots because I couldn't
So you could
see
see
for the
them.
life of me. So I didn't get the full experience of scouting because I couldn't really see what was going on. But sometimes it's great because it's like, my robot's broken and it's in the middle of the field and it won't move, so therefore I get to slack off for
I get
a
a
couple
break.
minutes. Yeah, I get a little break. I can go get like a sip of water or something. And then, but
It's like someone comes up to you. Why aren't you scared? Oh, it's broken.
yeah, a lot of things. And the kids that sit in the stands for scouting shifts, we have like a mutual bond. Like people that are off, you cover for people if they ask you nicely.
Watch my robot.
But yeah, pretty much. Like we have a program completely run on tablets, and our programming team makes it. So we just tap like driver skill up 1 through 5, or instability, scroll, how many hatches, how many cargo, what's their drivetrain, all that, comments. And my friend runs the data thing, so I got kind of accepted to the scouting team. So that's pretty cool. But it's a whole experience.
Has anybody showed up with like a chromed out robot?
No, they usually are like specific to their team colors.
Okay.
Or like, I think this is the reason. There's a mentor on 195 who he always has a purple shirt. Their colors are blue and black, but he has like a purple, so the robot is always purple. Like at least one part of it is. And it's a pretty purple, and I'm like, you know what? That's fine. It's still pretty.
He's the guy who like owns the.
I think he is the guy who owns the machine
where
shop.
the paint
Actually,
happens.
yeah, I think he is the guy that actually lets them use the machine shop. So.
I don't want to end this, but we're already a little over.
Okay.
Do you have any final?
I don't.
Okay.
I think I've run dry.
Okay. Good.
Do you have any more questions that you wanted?
Not really.
Okay.
We can always talk about them off air.
Do you have any advice?
Just if you do what you want to do, at the end of the day, it's up to you. Despite how people might tell you or say they prefer other people, as long as you like go, this is what I want to do, like do what you want to do.
If people find they're kind of good at like a couple of subjects, like what might be a strong subject for them to get better at, to join the robots team? Honestly,
robotics team's the best part. You can be a range of them. The best teams have people who aren't actually interested at all in building robots. They want to do the communication side of things, and that's what you need, because engineers are bad at communicating.
Yep.
And so you need those people
Can
that
confirm.
can communicate. So being good at math and science is great, and if you're interested in building robots, that's one great thing. But if you're interested in business, that's a great way to get your head start.
Well, when you were saying like you had to write out like your forms for sponsorship or whatever, and I'm like, if your team can pull a marketing kid who wants some experience, like...
That's exactly. We had a marketing team, and sadly, that's where all the females went for me. So when I was like, I want to join programming, they were like, why not marketing? And the girls actually, I had 2 girls, same age as me, same grade. They were very offended that I was like, I don't want to be in marketing. You just make flyers. And that's something people want to do. They want to do the marketing side. And I was like, I want to do the cool things. I don't want to build the robot. So it's all is what the person wants, which is great. That's why robotics teams are there. You can get that business side of things, or you can even just get that hands-on experience with engineering.
Has there been a lot of like, if pulling like a mechanics kid? Because I know our school had like a car shop, like a mechanic, couple classes, but like, and they like they like cars, and I forgot how I got here. I was cracking some kind of joke, because it was a matter of like, well, they might not be great at calculus or whatever, or measuring things out, but to work on a rocket, you have to start with a combustion engine, like a car.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad place to start.
No, especially those people. So everyone's like, everyone comes out of robotics as an engineer. And some people, there is a lot of engineers. There's a lot of scientists, which is great. We always want STEM. But STEM isn't just engineering and programmers and those computer science. It's also the people who want to work in welding, who want to be machinists, who want to be those trade schools. Those are also a great start. Because a lot of people, I have a lot of friends that went straight into trade school, and they are welders, they're machinists for different companies, and they enjoy it. That's what they want to do, because they might not be good at the math and science or the heavy math that's behind it, because engineering is very heavy in math. It's fun. You hear my internal dying.
It's fun.
I love
but
math.
they are good with like building, and that's what's also great about it, because they're still in STEM, but just not. They don't have to be specific.
Right.
That.
Cool.
This was unbelievably entertaining for me. Ellie, I don't think we gave you the rundown on how we close out episodes.
We did not.
You'll just say, And I'm Allie. That's all you have to say, because we're each gonna say our names, and then
We sign ourselves out.
yep,
Okay, I can
yep.
do that.
It's easy enough. But we've done this a couple times. We usually remember to tell people before we're actually an hour and a half into recording. But this was amazing. Thank you both so much for coming on. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. Thank you for your nepotism, Alex. It gave us a really neat episode, and it has me full of regrets of all the things I missed out on when I was young. But this is great. Both, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to end. It's going to do it. Rambling. I'm tired. It's time to go home. So until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Allie.
She did it. We nailed it. We got it in one. I'm going to edit everything out so that it just seems like we're just seamless.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it all in, actually. And this has been episode 300, where am I? 87 of Opinions May Vary.